This is the 4.3 assignment of data collection for qualitative data. There are three types of qualitative data, and they are interviews, questionnaires and observation. And qualitative data is data which is not numerical data, and it's harder to analyse as it includes participants' thoughts, feelings and views. And all of the above are types of qualitative data. However, both interviews and questionnaires are an example of self-report, as they provide information knowingly about what they think, believe and do. Looking into interviews, there are four types of interviews, and they are structured, semi-structured, unstructured and focus groups. Firstly, a structured interview means that the conductor of the interview knows exactly what is going to be asked throughout. For example, you have a researcher that has set 15 questions to ask a gymnast on the topic of body image. And the advantage of this is that you get specific answers that are easy to analyse, because every participant will be getting the same experience. And these means the questions and answers can be given for data analysis, because the questions will all be the same. A disadvantage for this would be that you cannot continue with the follow-up question. So if you wanted to find out more about their answer, you wouldn't be able to, because your interview is structured. And this could be beneficial, the follow-up questions, because it means getting more information. A semi-structured interview is you have a few questions, however you can bounce with answers and have follow-up questions. And the advantage of this is it's not disjointed, as you have an idea of what you're going to ask, but then you have follow-up questions, so it gives you more information and more an idea about their answer. A disadvantage is that it's hard to analyse, because no one will have exactly the same questions. They will change every time if you have follow-up answers, because the way their answers change and the way the questions will change, that bounce off of those. So it's all the answers will be different, all the questions will be different, so you cannot compare and contrast. An unstructured interview, which means you have no set questions at all, and you just ask whatever you feel like asking, and every question will be a follow-up question from what they've said previously, as you have no structure to the interview. The advantage of this is participants are able to respond to each other's comments. The advantage of this is you are able to respond to the participants' comments and find out more in depth, as it's hugely flexible. And a disadvantage of this is that there's a very high chance that you'll get off topic and not get the information required, which makes analysis almost impossible. And the focus group is something, for example, you get a group of female gymnasts in the GB team, and you ask a question openly, for example about body image, and they all answer by themselves. And the advantage of this is you get a wide variety of opinions from a wider variety of people, as you're all asking the same question. But however, the disadvantage of this is that people in the group can be influenced by dominant characters, which means some of the participants might change their answer if they feel like they want to fit into the group more. If they have a separate view, you will not be aware of this. The second type of data is questionnaires, and a questionnaire is where a researcher sets either a written or multiple choice question and asks them to a set of individuals through paper normally. However, you can do it through the internet and online. So this means that the researcher isn't present when the questionnaire is being answered. For example, this could mean a researcher sets out to find the opinions on the diet plans and the food of gymnasts have to eat, and their thoughts and feelings about their coaches and how their coaches view this and how they go about this, as it can be a sensitive topic for some people. A few advantages would be that you have large amounts of data can be collected from a large amount of people in a short period of time, because it's not time consuming and it's very cost effective, as you're only setting answers from a piece of paper, sending them away, and then you're getting them back. And it's very easy to compare and contrast with questionnaires, because all of the questions are the same, so you can compare the answers directly, because there's a large amount of people doing it and a large amount of people answering the same question, which can either be similar or different depending what the compare and contrast results are. However, the disadvantage of this is there's no way to tell how truthful the individual is being or how much thought they've put in, and you don't really have no further explanation to the answer. So if they put an answer down you don't understand, you can't go back and ask them about this. You have to just take what's written on the paper and kind of accept it and move on. You cannot expand on it, as whatever that answer down on the paper is the answer that they've provided you with. The final type of data is observation, and there are 3 types of observation. You have controlled observation, naturalistic observation, and participant observation. A controlled observation is where the observer decides where the observation takes place, for example, at what time, with their participants that they've chosen, which participants and what circumstances, and they use a standardised procedure every time. So for example, you could have a gymnast is put in a situation where they're training in a different environment to their normal one, and with a different coach to which they normally are taught with, but they know it's going to happen beforehand, and the observer records how they react when they're out of their comfort zone. And the advantage of this is that it has good reliability because it can be easily replicated and therefore easier to analyse and compare different results. However, a disadvantage, it can lack validity because the participants know that they're being watched, so they may act differently if they know they're under these circumstances. Naturalistic observation is when the observer is watching the participants in their natural surroundings and the researcher simply records what they see, which could be an example of a British gymnast training with their normal coach at their normal gym, so they could use to compare results. And the advantage is that they have better validity because they're in environments that are in their comfort zone, so any chance of them acting differently are going to be unlikely. And the disadvantage of this is that it can lack a representative because the observations are often conducted on a micro scale, so a small scale, and so the results are not going to be relatable to a wider population, so you can expand on those. Participant observation is where the researcher joins in and becomes part of the group they are studying to get a deeper insight of their lives. They can either do it undercover or in their true identity. So for example, a researcher joins in a discussion about the way the gymnasts train and the way they react. There's the casual discussion, and they all share their thoughts and their feelings. And the advantage of this is that the researcher gets a first-hand insight in the observation, which means they can have a greater understanding as they're taking part themselves, so they'll be able to understand their answers and the way they go about reacting to each other. A disadvantage of this would be the researcher can become too involved and it can become biased very quickly. Thank you.